Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to diagnose and fix the noise that we have in our right front on our '04 Chevrolet Impala. My suspicion is it's a wheel bearing. First thing we're going to do is get it off the ground a little bit safely. At this point I'm just going to diagnose. I'm not going to throw a jack stand under it. We're going to wiggle the tire back and forth this way, up and down this way, and kind of diagonal, and try and diagnose if it's within the wheel bearing or a steering component. Okay, now that could be a steering component, like a tie rod, but because of the noise I'm seeing or hearing, it's like a harmonic. It'll get loud and it'll get soft, and it'll kind of change in pitch as their speed. So if this wobbles this way, we know it's a wheel bearing. Well, there we go. We're gonna pop the hubcap off. We're gonna look at the axle nut. Probably gonna pull the wheel off, and then we're gonna go from there. While we got this opened up, we're gonna spray this with some PB Blaster. This should be a 36mm socket. If you don't have air tools, usually it's wise to break this nut loose, this axle nut loose, while the tire is still touching the ground. That way you have some leverage to do this. I actually broke this loose. It's supposed to be, one video I watched says it's a 36mm. That's way too big because I have a 36. I also have a 35 that I bought for a GMC pickup truck. Way to go, General Motors. But this is much smaller. It's a 33, I've found out. Well, I don't have a 33, but I do have an 1 5/16", and that fits awesome. So I've already broke it loose, and I do have air tools, so we'll let that soak a little bit more. I'm sure this PB Blaster has really helped. So we will get our lugs off next. Always for safety, I will throw the wheel underneath the car, either under the rear of the body or into the crossmotor or something like that, just in case. I also have a jack stand under here, but next thing we're going to want to do is actually take the caliper off and the caliper bracket. You can take it all off at one time with these bolts right here. Where's my pointer? There's my pointer, right there. So these would take off your caliper. We can just take off the bracket. Well, we're in here. We'll look at the brake pads. Actually, oh, they're not terrible. You don't want to hang this by the flexible line, so you really, especially the age. So we're going to bungee it up here with some big heavy cable ties. You just don't want to risk breaking that flexible line, so we're going to kind of plop it up here on the strut. So next, we're going to pop off our brake rotor. Probably because it's probably kind of seized onto that. We're going to throw some blaster in there. I don't like this new trigger crap. I'm going to let that soak in for, 10-15 minutes. Whack it with a brass hammer and we should be good to go. Inside the rotor's rusting out. Sorry about the noise, guys, but the furnace is running. We'll get this nut popped off, make sure the CV is free. Brass hammer ain't gonna hurt the end of that, but because you folks like to comment, I'm not gonna use a brass hammer. The next task is actually to take the 3 bolts out of this wheel bearing assembly. They're coming from the back side. There's one there. There's one there. And there's one there. I'm sure those are not the easiest thing to come out. Michigan stuff. When enough of that soaked down in between that plate possibly gets to the those bolts. It's also probably going to be seized in some fashion to this spindle. Dissimilar metals. We got steel, we got cast, that's probably cast aluminum there. So it's all going to be seized together. We're going to have to beat it out here. Wow. That one worked. Wow. Try it. It worked. And possibly we'll just keep soaking it down. Come out. It's not. Almost looks like the speed sensor exploded or something on the inside. I don't know if it'll have in there. Fuck, I don't have ABS. What the hell? Huh. What the hell? Oh wow, that's a seal. goddamn thing broken? Or did I break it? So here's our new wheel bearing. Has our old wheel bearing still kind of in there. The outside the race, actually. See? That's the inner wheel bearing is just wasted, it looks like. Just a bit wasted. Let's see if I can beat it out of here. Wow. This fucker's also bone dry. That's awesome. I'd say that was our suspect. Let's get this all cleaned up, lubed, and go to work. Wanted to make sure I shared this with you guys. Once you get your bolts started in this wheel bearing into the spindle, it is like an absolute pain in the behind. I think the spindle is symmetric. Either way you line it up, those 3 holes are going to line up, but in my case it didn't. Once you get them started, you want to tighten them sequentially a little bit. Not like a head gasket on a car or anything, but you don't want this thing getting cocked in there. It's so tight, this outer race as it goes into the spindle. You don't want to like crank this top one down and have the bottom one way out. So I just kind of work my way on in there, and it pulls that whole wheel bearing up in. Okay. There's probably a required torque for these. I'm going to make them tight. There we go. Next, work on our rusty brake rotor. Well, right after a nut.